Hello everyone, welcome back to another video on my channel, and today we're talking 90 Day Fiance The Single Life, Season 6, Episode 10, starting with Natalie. A few episodes ago, Natalie met up with Josh to have a conversation about their relationship, where they're going, and ultimately they broke up.
I'm not interested anymore in see you.
The conversation went okay. I mean, how great can a conversation go where you end up breaking up at the end? Natalie came into the conversation kind of hot and aggressive, had a lot of complaints that Josh wasn't there for her enough, wasn't doing enough for her.
I did try. There was dances.
Yeah, really? I'm woman 1 in a million, you know, and I deserve a great man.
Just more of the same complaints we've seen from Natalie all season.
I tried too.
You did. You tried.
As much as.
And you know, this is a breakup conversation. You know, obviously this isn't going to be everyone at their nicest. It is still a little weird to hear her describe that Josh didn't do enough for her.
I was hoping it's gonna be like kind of equal, but whatever energy I put, it's just obviously not enough.
I understand if you're not feeling the love or you're not convinced that someone likes you, but to focus on him not doing enough, as if finding her an apartment and allegedly buying her a car, getting her a job interview, getting her met up with a movie producer in the industry she wants to go in, as if all those things he's doing for her wasn't enough. But to her credit, I'm guessing what she was really trying to say was, yeah, you do all those things for me, but somehow at the end of the day, I still don't feel like you really love me, like you're really invested in this relationship. I'm 38, I wanna start talking about having a family, having kids. I'm ready for a commitment and a serious relationship, and you're never here. You're always busy with work, you won't introduce me to your family back in Arizona. I'm not feeling like this is as serious of a relationship to you as the relationship is to me. Which, when you put it like that, yeah, obviously, that's been the dynamic since we were first introduced to Josh a few seasons ago. He said the whole time that he likes and is into Natalie, but every one of the viewers has consistently felt like, yeah, okay, maybe you like her, maybe you're lying about this whole thing, but okay, even if you do like her, it's clearly not the same thing. Natalie's clearly more invested in this whole thing. So she discovers that, she realizes that's the dynamic that's going on, talks to Josh, and eventually breaks up with him.
I'm not interested anymore in see you.
She also got mad and called him weak in the middle of the conversation.
You weak. And I can't be next to a man who is weak.
Which is kind of an odd comment to make given the context. I'm guessing that based off everything else we've seen from her recently, she's realized that she's worth more than this, that she's tired of putting in effort into relationships and not getting the same kind of reciprocity. She's with her mom who's trying to hype her up and say, you deserve better. You need a guy who will really take care of you, just like Michael. So I'm guessing in her head, she's really feeling like she deserves a guy to fight for her. And then when she sees Josh consistently not show up or not introduce her or always have some excuse, that she may then see Josh as not fighting for her, and that's why he's weak. He's not fighting for her because he's not strong enough, not that he just doesn't like her enough. But all things considered, Josh handled it pretty well. He understood where Natalie was coming from, didn't seem to begrudge her for it, and even agreed that despite his best efforts, it seems like Natalie would be better off with someone who can and will give her everything that she needs.
That can be around more, or maybe somebody that doesn't have kids, that you can start your own family. I don't know.
And that person isn't him.
I'm not able to give you what you want. I'm not.
And then Natalie cries and hugs a tree, talking about how she'll never find a man and she's lonely and all that. And yeah, that was kind of sad. The next time we catch up with Natalie is a few weeks later, after her breakup with Josh, and she's talking a lot about and reflecting where she is in life. She's 38 years old, she's in LA with no job, no prospects of a job, and it's her and her mother wondering what the hell is going on in life. She always envisioned having a family and having a kid, and now she doesn't know how realistic that is and doesn't know what her next move is. But she wants to take matters into her own hands and goes to a fertility clinic to talk about her options. Not too much goes on here. We did learn that apparently after her second divorce, Natalie joined the church. I was on her way to becoming a nun and actually really liked it there.
But I think it was a great part of my life.
We also find out that Natalie's super realistic and helpful mother thinks that you can naturally, easily get pregnant well into your 50s, and even longer if you do sports. And I know that kind of thinking can be more common in more traditional conservative areas where they go, well, don't you know your great aunt Louisa, she got pregnant when she was 65. So, this happens all the time, don't worry about it. I know that that's more common, but it's still wild to me that people still have that susceptibility to confirmation bias. Like, yeah, maybe you did have that one distant relative that got pregnant at 53 naturally, but I'm sure the mother has also heard the other 300 times that people have tried to get pregnant and it didn't work out. So just still surprised how strong, well, because I saw that one time, then yeah, you won't have a problem, that's easy. But after talking about her options in the fertility clinic, Natalie comes to the conclusion that yes, although she wants to pursue kids and a family, really she needs a husband. She needs a guy in her life. She needs to figure this out. She doesn't know where to start, but she's motivated again to at least figure something out. And at this point watching, I'm getting a little annoyed as a viewer at how clearly they're setting up the Mike thing. They teased it a few episodes ago when they were at that lunch thing and the mom called up Mike and things were great. That was kind of weird, but now Natalie she and Josh broke up. They broke up and she's sad and she doesn't know what she's gonna do with the man. And then she goes to the fertility clinic to do it herself. And then, but no, I need a husband. I have nowhere to go. I'm in LA, completely lost. I don't know anybody. Whatever am I gonna do? If only I had a husband that the entire audience knows about that may want to come over and possibly rekindle things with. Anyway, my cynicism aside, we're finally caught up to the most recent episode where we catch up with Natalie and her mother making waffles? What are you doing there? Are you just putting frozen waffles on a pan? I'm so confused. The stove is on, there's waffles in the pan, but they're all overlapping. Can someone explain this to me? Anyway, while Natalie enjoys her depression waffles, we hear again that now that it's been a month after she broke up with Josh, she is still indeed 38 in LA with no real prospects. She even says all of her dreams just disappeared because she had a plan this whole time with Josh.
All my dreams just feel kind of disappear at one time because I had a plan with Josh. Now I don't have a plan.
And when I hear that, I understand that you have a breakup. Of course, it's gonna feel bad. You're depressed, you're feeling down, you're not sure where you're gonna go in life. She's 38, has no job, wants a family. I get all that. You're allowed to be depressed, but that's why it's not always the healthiest thing to put all of your hopes and dreams on a single relationship. That's one problem with being overly dependent on someone in a relationship. Also, and this is just speculation, but when I heard her say that she has all these plans with Josh, just knowing what we know about Natalie, or at least what we're led to believe about Natalie in the show by now, when I hear her say that, I generally assume that she probably didn't plan all these things with Josh. All these ideas in her head and her timeline about family and kids or what the future holds, I'm guessing that a lot of that was just her idea, what she wanted in her head, and maybe didn't actually have concrete conversations about that sort of thing, like an actual plan with Josh. In a way that if Josh were to hear this and hear her say, oh, I had all these plans with Josh, that he might be like, you may have had those plans, but we didn't agree to that. I'm sorry you feel disappointed, but these weren't our plans that we did together. This is the first time even hearing about it. I don't know that that's how it happened, but it fits the bill with Natalie and her dependency issues. So now with no Josh, Natalie has no plan and nowhere to go. Except mother called Michael and you're gonna go see him.
Я сама позвонила Майклу.
Yes, the mother, who doesn't know English that well, invited her ex-husband Michael to fly down to Los Angeles immediately without telling Natalie. Natalie had no idea this was happening. Come on, TLC, we know this is for the show. We know that Michael agreed to this. We know that the TLC is probably paying for this. They probably talked about it. Maybe it is still kind of legit. The reasons Mike might be coming down for the relationship with Natalie emotions, that might be authentic, but come on, show. You can't be this obvious about it. But okay, we'll go along with it. Natalie hears about seeing Michael again and has mixed feelings about it. Because as she says, she went to LA in the first place with super high expectations about her life turning around, her relationship with Josh, everything in her life. And now that things have come crashing down and she's single, she's hoping that Mike can introduce some light to her life.
I have a lot of mixed feelings, but on the other hand, I hope Michael will bring some light into my life.
I'll get to this more later when we talk about the reunion with Mike, but I just so don't like the sound of that mentality. It just sounds so much like Mike is option B. Like he's absolutely the second choice, and now that she flew too close to the sun, now that she's humbled, she then has to go back to the only thing that she can have.
Вот тебе перспектива ребенка. Твой Майкл.
But what does Mike think about all this? He's a person too. Well, we're about to find out because the reunion between Natalie and Mike is finally here. Natalie and her brother arrive to the farmer's market where it's raining in LA. I don't know if that's a good sign or a bad sign, but it's definitely an omen of something. And we learned from Natalie that she's going into this meeting pretty nervous because apparently she's just accepted that she now is trying to go back together with Mike.
Я бы хотела, чтобы вы были вместе, чтобы была семья, чтобы вы были так же счастливы, как в начале.
Я тоже.
Чтобы все было отлично.
Я тоже так хочу.
This isn't just some meeting, oh, well, let's just see where things go, I'm just gonna say hi. She's already established that that is now her goal, and she and her mother are on the same page. They want to re-establish and save the marriage. Because remember, Natalie and Mike are still technically married at this point. And although they slid that in, like we all were supposed to know that, and that was obvious, what? So we've had this whole dynamic building up for 2 seasons. Is it Mike or is it Josh or is it Mike or is it Josh? She chooses Josh. She does this entire season with Josh. And then once it ends, she goes, okay, well, I guess Mike is the answer. As if there's no question about it. It's like, are you guys even compatible? Is this even what she wants? Now that she doesn't have a prospect with another guy, then by default, it's the other guy. But after all the nerves and talking about it, Natalie and her mother finally meet Mike at the farmer's market and give him the saddest bouquet of flowers I've ever seen. They say hello, they hug, they're pretty nervous, Mike looks pretty uncomfortable, and Natalie has decided that she's going to come back together with her husband.
And I don't know how to, it's a magic. I'm gonna come back together with my husband.
Little preemptive, don't you think? Shouldn't we figure out what Mike wants first? They all sit down to have some lunch, and Mike is saying how great it is that, wow, thank God Mom was able to come home and escape Ukraine. I'm glad you got here safe. I'm glad everything worked out. Pretty big and important thing. And the whole time, Natalie is just like, yeah, it's great, thank you. Not even giving eye contact.
Yeah. But I mean, the important thing is Mama's safe, she's here.
Yeah.
You two can actually spend time together, You're not by yourself and everything.
Yeah.
They're making small talk, and the whole time, Natalie just feels very cold and distant and not very attentive. It's pretty awkward. And then Mike cuts to the chase and asks, why did you even come to LA? You were doing just fine in Florida. Did you have some connection here, or is it just that you flew over here to be with Josh and now he broke up with you? Because I'm sure Mike in this situation would obviously feel a bit like a plan B. Like, oh, you were doing great in Florida, then you had some amazing dreams of this amazing life with Josh and everything was gonna be perfect, and look what the cat dragged in. Now you're coming back to old Mike, and even your mom was saying that this is the perfect time for our family to reconcile.
Майкл, сейчас просто идеальное время. Нашей семье сдружиться.
Yeah. Perfect timing for you guys now that she got dumped. And then the mom leaves to leave the 2 little lovebirds, Mike and Natalie, together alone, give them some alone time, we'll see what happens. And Natalie, who's still a little cold, although to be fair, I'm sure it's because she's incredibly nervous right now and that's why she's being so distant, is still incredibly nervous to have this one-on-one time with Mike and tells us in a one-on-one that she's feeling all the pressure of her life right now.
Honestly, this could be my moment to save my marriage. After all the story with Josh, relocation, I could actually fix it.
All the pressure of everything in her life making sense, having a family, having kids, this is her opportunity to fix her marriage. This is the chance she's been waiting for. The last 2 years of making money on this TV show and chasing Josh and all this stuff, it's all leading up to this, the reunion, the reuniting with Mike, fixing my marriage, and my entire life will be saved. And then, as the episode ends, we see Natalie and Mike driving away together in a car because the conversation is happening next episode, goddammit. Got cliffhangered again. And while of course I'm excited to see where this conversation goes, I'm really left with 2 thoughts here. My first thought is that we're really doing Mike dirty here. This whole time, the way everyone is talking about this very much feels like Mike is just a pawn in order for Natalie to get what she wants in life. That she wants family and she wants kids, and only now that she's been broken up with and she's at the bottom of her life and doesn't have any direction, now is when Mike enters the picture. Now is when Mike is no longer just Mike, just a person in her life or that she has a relationship with or another equal person. Now, in this situation, Mike is the savior. Mike is the solution to her problems. Mike is the way to get her goals and dreams met. Mike is coming along to save everything. And if that's the case, if Natalie actually sees it that way, that would be a very selfish and self-centered way of thinking about this whole thing. Because like I've said so many times on this channel, that wouldn't be seeing Mike for Mike. That would be seeing Mike to the extent that he can solve her problems. And not only is it not fair to Mike, that's also the same exact thinking that Natalie was complaining about earlier with Josh, like when she said earlier that all of her hopes and dreams are gone now because she gambled them all on the success of the one relationship, that dependency thing.
All my dreams just feel kind of disappear at one time because we had a plan with Josh. Now I don't have a plan.
She had all these hopes and plans with Josh, and once that relationship ended, she had nothing, and now Mike comes along and she puts all the same hopes and dreams onto Mike. Well, then what happens if that relationship doesn't work out? Back to square one. It's the same kind of dependency thing, just with a different person. I understand that kind of behavior can come from your own problems. You know, you're just so scared on the inside, you can't even really think about anyone else and their feelings. Especially like that biker who clearly doesn't care about anyone else's feelings. And these people are often so scared and threatened that they can only see 6 inches in front of them and kind of has to be in this sort of survival mode. And in that example, when you're starving, then yeah, you're gonna see everyone else in terms of, can this person feed me or not? So I can understand if that was what was the case with Natalie. However, although that was the first thought I had, the second thought was that this is incredibly convenient for television. Very early on in the season, maybe episodes 1, 2, 3, I was thinking about, is this real? Is this whole thing staged? Is this a producer thing? Or at least how much of this is really what's going on? I try not to think about that too much and just take the show for face value, but so many of these scenes with Natalie just felt so forced and overdone, and she's trying to be an actor. And then you look at Josh and wonder, what's he in this for? Does he really feel all these emotions for Natalie? How real is this, right? And when I was wondering all that in the beginning of the season, I remember thinking specifically, I wonder if this whole season they're gonna build up this relationship with Josh and it's gonna be getting more serious and more things going on until it hits some breaking points where Natalie realized this whole thing was a mistake and she shouldn't have been with Josh at all, and then everything's gonna come crashing down, and then Mike will come in as the saving lights, and then we'll get this magical reunion with Mike and everything will be okay and it'll be this big conclusion to this multi-season long story. I remember thinking that all the way in the beginning of the season. If you were a writer in the beginning of the season and you were given Natalie, Josh, and Mike as your 3 characters to write a story about, wouldn't it seem like this? She probably does have a dramatic personality and probably does suffer a lot of emotional and attachment issues that we can all have compassion for. But you never know, with all these years on television and your partners are also on television, how much you may have learned to figure out from the start, hey, we should do this. Hey, there's this guy I'm kind of interested in, and maybe I'm still talking to Mike, and maybe the 3 of us can all kind of agree. Mike, I'm gonna have this kind of fake-ish relationship with Josh, and Josh, you and me are gonna be cohorts in all this, and we're gonna spruce it up and make it kind of dramatic, and pitches this to the producers, and everyone likes it, and sets this whole thing up. It's very convenient. So I don't want to jump to any conclusions about Natalie or what must be going on, but if we're sticking to the behavior of what we see on TV, then we're absolutely seeing someone who looks very selfish, has a lot of dependency issues, and seems to be using Mike and everyone around her in a way that leaves a bad taste in my mouth. That's all I got for today's video. Let me know what you thought about Natalie and Josh and Mike in the comments down below. Do you think this is real? Do you think this is fake? What's really going on? And until next time, if you enjoyed this video and you enjoy my content, make sure to hit subscribe, hit the like button, ring the bell for notifications, hit the join button. I love all you channel members, and every comment helps the algorithm. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next one.